Hello everybody. I took a fluoroquinolone antibiotic called ciprofloxacin in April 2021, and it disabled me and put me on hospice 5 months after taking 3 pills. To this day, I am still totally disabled, confined to a hospital bed, and have 24/7 care. I can't do anything by myself. I'm making this video because it's my flox-a-versary. 3 years ago today, I took the antibiotics that disabled me, and so I just wanted to share what was on my mind. If you are floxed, think you are floxed, or know someone that may be floxed, the emotional effects are absolutely devastating, traumatizing, nothing you could even imagine or relate to unless you've actually experienced it. The most important thing for my survival was this: get your mind right. You don't have to be all namaste and stuff, but when you first get sick, there are no words to describe, excuse my language, the mindfuckery that occurs. For me, I found when I was in survival mode, I needed to find a way to disassociate. I had to go somewhere else mentally, and when I was ready to heal, it was time to feel. Because what comes out doesn't keep you sick, it's what stays in that does. But to survive, I needed to separate from those feelings. For anyone that's in a similar situation, my advice would be, when you're ready, invite those feelings in and keep them company until you're ready to let them go. For me, guilt, shame, and regret plague me, always blaming myself for taking the medicine. I didn't know about a black box warning, and I asked my doctor, that's part of my story, and I was told it was fine. But unfortunately, I can't go back and change what happened to me. However, when we have this unresolved grief, we end up living with so much anger. And in fact, I would actually call it rage. I lost something I didn't want to lose, and I didn't have a choice. So like I said, when you're ready, let that anger and rage out until there's nothing left. And when I say anger and rage, I mean not in a destructive way. So I have to put that disclaimer out there. I don't mean go crazy. And so here goes. Here's my rage therapy. To the doctors, hospitals, and medical professionals, not all, but most, in the Western medicine system who were unkind and unfair, who treated me like I was crazy, who dismissed me and never took me seriously, you should know that I'm alive in spite of your ignorance and negligence. When I first got sick, doctors laughed at me, made snarky comments to me, and wouldn't even take 5 minutes to research fluoroquinolone toxicity syndrome. And as we're all commonly told, it was all in my head. I even had one hospital tell me that they wouldn't help me until my organs were failing and I was dying. Is that part of the Hippocratic Oath? Does do no harm also mean do nothing? Because do nothing can also cause harm. There are so many people like me that are abandoned by the medical system in time of crisis and feel like we have nowhere to go, no options. We are injured and scared, and you should be ashamed for making us feel less than human in such a time of need. You get an F for bedside manner. To the doctors that said they couldn't or wouldn't help me because my constellation of symptoms didn't fit nicely in a box, I say to you, it's not my fault you couldn't think outside the box and outside of the constraints of your checklists. I understand the problem is the entire medical system. Doctors, insurance companies, the bureaucracy, etc., etc. However, doctors are first line. They are holding people's lives in their hands. And in my case, when they write prescriptions, there is no excuse, none, for a doctor to be uninformed about the medications they are prescribing to patients. If they don't have the necessary knowledge, then don't write the prescription. We are human beings at the end of your standard treatment protocols. How would you feel if someone treated your mother, your wife, your daughter, your sister like I was treated? Would you be outraged if they were sick and were sent home and were told they could only get help when their organs were failing in potentially 3 weeks? Wouldn't you be outraged? When I was sent home on hospice, who is actually the end of life team, it was the first time, the very first time, that I felt seen and heard. And that didn't happen until I was on my deathbed. Why did it take me to get to that point to finally encounter some kindness? The Western medicine system is supposed to help you survive. They did not. The hospice system is supposed to let you die. They did not. In fact, hospice is a huge reason why I am still here. And they cared about me more than the dozens of doctors I encountered before they came along. If Western or allopathic doctors were trained to have just a tenth of kindness that hospice doctors and nurses have, the medical community would be an entirely different place. In closing, I realized early on no one was coming to save me. I was going to have to save myself. I never wavered in my belief or in the fact that I was floxed. I never let a single doctor make me think or feel otherwise. I always stood my ground and fought back. I never let you guys invalidate my feelings, even though you tried relentlessly. You may have helped destroy my body, but you didn't destroy my mind or my will. The trauma that the medical system has inflicted upon me and others like me is almost as bad as being floxed itself. What were you doctors doing when I was crying at night, begging for God to give me mercy and to make it stop? Where were you when I couldn't eat a single thing, not one single thing, and was starving to death for a month? Where were you when I was so stiff I couldn't even bend down to pee? I had to pee in a cup standing up because my body physically wouldn't bend. I'll tell you where you were, nowhere near me. You abandoned me, and like I said so many times, throw me to the wolves and I'll come back leading the pack. That's what you did. You threw me to the wolves and now I'm leading the pack. My body may be crap, but this is still working. This still works really well. Now I'm transitioning from being a victim of your system to a warrior that won't quit until there are changes. I pray that you or your family members never experience anything that I had to go through, because then you'll see where I'm coming from, and it's not so pretty. Nobody understands until they're on the other side. And I have come across some very good doctors that I've been blessed to work with that have definitely had an impact on my life and recovery. Are they Western medicine doctors? At least not anymore. Thank you to the doctors that have helped me. Thank you for giving a shit. To my floxy warriors, don't give up. Shout it from the rooftops. Keep telling your stories. I want people to see the reality of what fluoroquinolone antibiotics do to people. They disable people, they kill people, and they are still being prescribed, not as last resort. Myself and all my friends that make these videos want to show you the hard truth so that you never end up where we are. There's no making this story pretty. This is Floxed. Thank you, everybody.